Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off, online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, and with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and I'm alongside my co-host Tyler. And on today's show, we have a extremely fantastic episode. This guy has a truly inspirational story. He started from the bottom and worked his way up all the way to the AHL this prior season with Tucson Roadrunners. He's an absolute workhorse and has spent time in the Great Lakes Junior Hockey League, the NAHL. Played Division I hockey at St. Lawrence University for 2 seasons before playing D3 at Adrian College, and before beginning his pro career with time spent in the SPHL, the ECHL, and the AHL. Hailing from Imperial, Missouri, we want to welcome to the show Tyler Parks. Tyler, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be on your podcast.
Yeah, no problem. So, Parksy, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Just another night in St. Louis. Had a good day of training today, so can't complain.
Yeah, so how is training? Because, like, we're in these weird times with COVID and all that. So, like, what do you do for, like, training, and how is it getting on the ice?
Yeah, so I'm lucky that we're able to get in the gym with, obviously, my trainer's Jeff Lavecchio, who was on your podcast as well. But, yeah, it's nice because I can train with all the other pro guys in town still. So we have a good group of about 7 or 8 guys. I think right now, so it's really good, and we really don't have too many restrictions when we're in the gym. Obviously, outside of the gym, you have to wear a mask and stay safe, obviously. And I'm lucky on the ice too. My goalie coach is Luke Vanker with 3D goaltending, but we kind of have the rink to ourselves for the most part of the day. So not a lot of people coming in, so it's really specialized where we don't have to worry too much. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. You just got to stay safe, and good that you're hitting the training books, and Vec's a beauty just like you. So that's how it goes, and you're getting the training done, so getting ready for the next season.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you gotten used to like all the new regulations in terms of like skating and playing compared to just, everyone freelance is doing normal stuff during, this whole COVID time?
Yeah, it's crazy. Obviously, I know that in St. Louis we're more lucky than some other places. I know you guys are in Illinois, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's pretty harsh there. I think with all the mask regulations, I think St. Louis is a lot more. I wouldn't say lenient. Like it's still you still have to wear a mask everywhere, but at least where I go for my training, I can get away with, we have very minimal people around us. So we're definitely socially distanced there. So I have it lucky.
Yeah, for my skating right now, like we're only allowed like 10 people, and generally it's like not even filled half the time. So there's only like 5 people out there, and you got to wear masks inside the arena. No locker rooms, no showers, none of that. So it's very restrictive. And then same thing for the gyms. You got to wear masks when you work out and all that. So it definitely sucks, but I'd rather stay safe, especially during like how much of a hot spot Illinois is right now. So it's definitely
Yeah.
good to keep safe.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why it's a lot harsher up there too, because I know Chicago was hit with one of the worst. I think that New
Yeah.
York City. So I can completely understand why it's so you know, strict like that.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll get through it. So,
Yeah.
Tyler, can you give our viewers like a little background information on like your hockey story, like when you started, why you became a goaltender, and some of the teams you've been on?
Yeah, so I started playing hockey when I was 2. Obviously, as soon as I could skate, my mom kind of put me in skates. I grew up with a single mother. My grandparents would take me to hockey when she was working during the day. So I was lucky enough to have them, and then my mom would make it when she could. But so I started out being a D-man actually, and I think my second year Pee Wee year is when I started playing goalie. So my uncle was a roller hockey goalie. He just played like in high school here in St. Louis, and just kind of played for fun. And then I just ended up loving it. So my team needed a goalie, and I said I would give it a try, and then fell in love with the position. And then that's kind of, I'd say right about like maybe 9 or 10 is really when I started focusing on just being a goalie and not being a defenseman anymore.
Yeah.
And then through there, I kind of grew up playing for, the Afton. I didn't play AAA growing up. I just played AA pretty much. So I grew up playing there. I was the only person in my family to ever play hockey, at a competitive level. So no one in my family really knew anything about hockey. So I kind of had to figure it out by myself. So I think I was 17 years old or whenever the Frozen Four was in St. Louis. It was Michigan State and Maine, and Bishop was playing for Maine. And we went, my mom got us tickets. So we ended up going there. And I just knew that's what I wanted to play. I wanted to be at that level. So I just kind of, when I was sitting there watching it, I kind of looked up the rosters and saw where those guys were playing. And was just looking at the junior leagues where they played and kind of how they got recruited. And I was just like, I need to do whatever it takes to get here. And then that's kind of how it started for me. So.
Yeah, that's unreal. And like I read that you've been cut a lot throughout your career so far. Like, how do you like persevere through that and like get over those humps of being cut and like just to get to where you are now? It must be an incredible feeling and just living the dream right now.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't change my career path. Obviously, it's had so many challenges, but I wouldn't trade it because I think it's made me who I am. It's made me mentally tougher. It was just hard in St. Louis. I never was, like I said, I didn't know anything about hockey growing up. I didn't start working out until I was like 17 years old. Like I didn't know what I should be doing or anything like that. So it was hard. Like even in high school hockey, in St. Louis, it's not the greatest, but I didn't even play varsity till my senior year. So, yeah, just kind of had to work it out from there. And then, so I was looking and I tried out for the St. Louis Junior Blues. I got cut that same year, and then I ended up playing, and then I went to an open tryout for the North American Hockey League and ended up making it out of 40 goalies, which was crazy to me because I couldn't even get past the first round of, St. Louis Junior Blues tryouts. And then that same year I go to an open camp just kind of on a whim and ended up making the Springfield Junior Blues. And that's kind of how everything started when I got to the North American Hockey League. Because obviously before I tried out for the Junior Blues, I played about 2 years in the Great Lakes Junior Hockey League, which isn't even a league again. I think I saw like 80 shots a game. So I think that was helpful for my development too.
Yeah, so going into that, it's like what motivated you to keep going even though like you've been cut by teams, but like what like kept that motivation going? Was it just like
Yeah.
just working towards your goal, or like just like what was that like?
Yeah, I think it just really, it really sparks something in me whenever I get cut. When someone says you're not good enough, I just want to prove them wrong. So, like everyone in St. Louis who said I could never make it, all the kids I played with and all the coaches I played with who said, this kid's not going to go anywhere. I took that upon myself, had a chip on my shoulder, and I was just dead focused. I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to make it there. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what you can't do. So I think that's the biggest thing that, you know, kept me going. And it's kind of always sparked a fire in me, you know, like I've always had faith in myself. And obviously I had a lot of people in my corner, like, you know, my goalie coach, I started working him with when I was like 16, 17. I couldn't really skate for being a tall guy. It's really, you know, you really have to work on your skating. So we kind of spent the whole summer, that first 16, 17 year, I didn't see a puck during the summer. I just skated every day. I'd go out to, you know, public skates with the figure skaters and just skate while they're figure skating the whole time. So I think those kind of people helped me, and, you know, him and, you know, Jeff Lavecchio, my agent now, I think those guys, just those three guys, you know, those guys who always saw and had faith in me. I think, you know, I wanted to do it for them too. I want to do it for my mom, obviously, you know, being a single mother, spending all the money she had on me, you know, when I was growing up, so I could play hockey and travel and go to these tournaments. So I think it was a combination of, you know, the people who were in my corner, just, you know, not wanting to let them down, and just prove to them that, you know, everything they saw in me, that, you know, I'll be successful. And those people, you know, the kids whose teams I played on when I was growing up, you know, and those coaches back home in St. Louis who cut me and never said that, never, you know, had faith in me. I think that's what drove me. So.
Yeah, you mentioned how you said you were trying to prove everyone wrong when you get cut. And so leading past that, my question is, was it more so, because I know you mentioned you were trying to prove other people wrong, but was it also a mix of trying to prove it to yourself too, like keeping that mental toughness, not just because you want to prove others wrong, but you want to prove it to yourself too, that, you know, you really are good enough and strong enough to maintain it for yourself, not to, you know, get back at other people?
Yeah, I think that was a factor too. You know, I knew that I wanted to prove it to myself. I knew that I had the tools, and I was getting better every day and working hard. And, you know, I knew that, you know, I had faith that one day I'd get rewarded for what I'm doing. So I definitely think, you know, I had it intrinsically as well, where I just wanted to get better every day. And, you know, I was focused on the process of getting better. And, you know, I really kind of fell in love with, you know, with that kind of process, working hard and really pushing myself mentally to the limits. Still to this day, I really love pushing myself mentally to the limits, like whether it be in the gym or on the ice. When you're really tired, I think that's when you got to dig down deep, and that's when your true character comes out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just like unreal. Like you're like, that's the definition of workhorse. You just work hard and just, so would you say that like that like is something that benefited you to in the long run to get to where you are today?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, becoming mentally tougher. Obviously, you know, when I was younger and I'd get cut, it was really hard on me. Like, you know, you're a young kid, you do everything you can, you want to make this team, and then you get cut and you got to play at a lower level, and it's hard. But I think it's, you know, especially the kids, I think it's what you make it. You know, like if you're going to go down there and kind of have that attitude, it's, you know, it's not going to bode well for you. But if you go down there and you just take it as an opportunity to get better, I think, you know, I think that's what you got to do, and that's how you got to have the mental fortitude to push yourself, even when other people aren't pushing you. Like same thing, like it was kind of hard transitioning from Division I to D3 too, because, you know, like some of like I was lucky because I went to a good Division III school, but it was hard when you have guys around you who, you know, they're like, yeah, I'm kind of just playing to play, I'm kind of done. You know what I mean? So I mean, you just got to take it upon yourself to work harder than they are, and not get kind of stuck in that mental trap. You know, I could say that about a bunch of different levels where I've been at, where, you know, it just comes down to your mindset and what you're willing to do to reach your goals.
Yeah, exactly. And like I'm like the same way as you. Like I'm like a hard worker, and like
Yeah.
a lot of people doubted me too. And I'm continuing to work hard and work towards my goal of playing pro. So it's definitely like the doubters definitely do motivate you, but like it's always good to have that like support, because like my friends, my family, they're all like there and like they support like what my goal is. But it's like I had the same problem. Like people were doubting me and like saying you're not good enough, but like in the end, like I'm just doing what I want to do, and I'm gonna do what I can to achieve my goal.
Yeah, exactly. That's the right mindset you have to have, and it's good that you have, you know, that supportive web. in your corner that's pushing you every day too, and that believes in you, because that can drive you as well and motivate you to, work harder, especially when you're tired. You think of those people and you're like, I owe it to them. I owe it to myself. So I think that's huge. And that's the way you have to take it. You have to take every day and just keep working to get better.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some days you don't want to go to the gym, but but you have to just, even if you don't feel like, you just got to keep grinding through, and everything will pay off in the long run. So you just
Exactly.
got to keep going no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. That's the mindset you have to have every day, for sure.
Yeah, so let's get into your junior career a little bit. So like, you spent 2 seasons in the defunct Great Lakes Junior Hockey League for the Illinois Frontenacs and the St. Louis Frontenacs, playing in like 46 games throughout the 2 years in the JHL. So like, can you explain like your experience in the Great Lakes Junior Hockey League and how it prepared you to play in the NAHL and go beyond your career?
Yeah, so that was hard too, obviously, because we had the St. Louis Junior Blues in town, which was at that time, very good. We had a lot of guys from that level end up going to the USHL, going to the North American Hockey League as well. Obviously, I said I was cut there, so that was another local team. It was junior hockey, and obviously from looking at the rosters, I knew I needed to play juniors somewhere, so that was kind of my starting point. I actually met two guys on my team there, actually some of my best friends in St. Louis, which is quite hilarious. But I think just going there and obviously seeing as many shots as I did. Obviously, we were a new team. We kind of didn't get the best guys from St. Louis, obviously. So I think that was a good time for me to develop and get used to junior hockey, get used to traveling, get used to the practices. And I think sometimes those bus trips can be hard on you mentally too. When you're sitting that long, it's a lot easier when you're younger. But I think that's kind of how I got my start there, was just seeing that many shots and really just trying to hone my game and still work with my goalie coach back home. So I think that's what the Great Lakes Junior Hockey League did for me.
Yeah, so like, what was like your mindset throughout all this when you're getting like 80 shots against, and like it gets tough, especially if you're getting peppered and they keep scoring. So like, what was your mindset throughout all that, and like, how do you like overcome that bump in the road to get to the NAHL?
Yeah, so it was definitely hard, obviously, because even if you're seeing that many shots, as a goalie, you don't want to let in any goals. But sometimes if you're seeing that many shots, you're going to let in, a good amount of goals a night. That's just how it is. So I think it was just kind of helping me mentally to just push through it, no matter how hard it got. I knew that, I had to finish the game. I wasn't going to come out, you know what I mean? They weren't going to put someone else in. So you got to find a way out of it yourself. You got to solve the solution. So, I mean, that's really when you have to dig down deep, because you're definitely tired seeing that many shots, and I don't like getting scored on. So I knew that, I had to find a way out myself.
Yeah, and I had the same problem this year. Like, I'd be facing like 60 shots a game, which I definitely did not want to face that many and like get peppered with like the amount of goals that were given up and like the like odd man rushes. But it comes with the position, so like you just gotta take it. And like I only gave up like 6 goals that one game, and like we still lost 6-0. So it's not like anything changed because we didn't score any goals. But like I always want to like pitch a shutout, which honestly it's not going to happen like every single time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely I definitely learned to like push through it and just like take every shot like and just focus on like making the next save, because that's the main job of goalie.
Yeah, it's crazy too. Like even in the American League, you'll have guys who are on an NHL contract, and if they let in 6 or 7, they're staying in. Like the coaches won't take them out. So I think that's another sign of development and growth, is that hey, you're not coming out. You got to find a solution. You got to stop the bleeding somehow. So I mean, it happens even at the higher levels too.
Yeah, exactly. And you just as if you take that many shots, you're gonna get better no matter what, because you're facing high quality shots and from everywhere, and like you're gonna get better at some way or another. So it's definitely always a uphill grind from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then the following year in 2011, you then went into the NAHL and you played for the Springfield Junior Blues, where you played 24 regular season games and 3 playoff games. Like, what was the
Hmm.
transition like from playing the Great Lakes to going to the NAHL?
Yeah, it was a huge transition. Obviously, I jumped up, like I would say 3 leagues. Obviously, playing from where I was to the NAHL, obviously. So it was kind of difficult actually because I started out as the third goalie there. So we had one of the highly touted goalies out of Minnesota high school. He was labeled to be the starter. And then we had another guy who played the previous year. He played some games there too. And then I was kind of coming in the third role. The coach liked me, and we're like, hey, we're gonna give this guy a chance. Yeah, be kind of a practice guy, and maybe get a couple games. So I would say I waited like 3 months. I think it was. I didn't play a game there. I just practiced, making sure that I stayed out extra late with the guys. Was helping them out and just kind of worked with the goalie coach there. And then from there, one of the starting goalie had an injury. So he had a hip injury. And then so he ended up being out for a while. And that's kind of really where I got my shot. So we played one of the best teams in our division, Janesville Jets. And I knew the coach was like, hey, you're playing, like you're in. So I knew that was my time to shine, and I knew that was my one opportunity. So I've just been trying to be good in my career is when you get that chance to not let it slide, to really, take full advantage of that opportunity. So that's kind of how it was for me in Springfield. And then I played really well. He kept playing me. I think I got 24 games that year because our other goalie got healthy. I think he ended up going to Dubuque in the USHL. So I think from there, the coach kind of gained some trust in me and kind of just let me roll with it.
Yeah, so like going in as like a third goalie, like you don't want to be that third goalie. You want to be like the starter, like you said. But like, how important was it to you to be that third role in the beginning of the season? Just like work on like practices and just staying out late with the guys, and then developing that trust from the coach, and then him trusting you so much that he played you in 24 games.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big factor. I think I've been in that role plenty of times. I think you just got to make sure that you're not obviously, throwing a fit in the locker room, that you're not playing. And I think you just, like you said, you just got to have a positive mindset. You just got to go in it and say, hey, these are the cards I'm dealt. I'm going to roll with it. And, this is what I got to do. So I think it was really important to, it gave me some time to get adjusted from the speed because obviously it was a lot harder and a lot faster than the Great Lakes Junior Hockey League. So I think that time where I wasn't playing really, helped me with, the speed of play, making sure that I was able to adjust, to my angles, hold my feet a little bit longer. So I think it played a huge factor in it. And just, you want to make sure that you have the support from your teammates too, and they have faith in you. And a lot of that trust comes from, staying out there with those guys, long so they can work on stuff, you working on stuff, you just show them that you're the last one off the ice and the first one on. I think that goes a long way with, building trust with your coaching staff and with, the players on your team as well.
Yeah, so a lot of like third stringers would not really do that. But like all the ones that are successful do that, and they're the first ones on the ice, last one to leave, and they just work and work and work. And from what I've been seeing, like all those guys that have done that are now really successful goaltenders, and they're playing at a high level hockey. So it just goes to show that once you do that and keep working, even if you're the third string, fourth string, whatever it is, keep working, things will turn around.
Yeah, exactly. I think you have to take every opportunity that's handed to you, and you just have to roll with the cards you're dealt. Like I was in that third string role, and I could have pouted, I could have been pissed off every day. I could have had a bad attitude, but at the end of the day, that wouldn't have made anything better. That wouldn't have made me play. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think you just gotta take it with the best attitude you can.
Yeah, exactly. And how cool was it to play like near your hometown, home state, like when you were playing with Springfield, and just being able to be around family?
Yeah, it was unreal. It was awesome being that close to home, and especially my first time being away. So my mom would come up to games. My aunt and uncles, my grandparents came to a couple of games. So it was really cool to have that support system. And at first, I ended up having to switch billets. That's a different story. My first billets, I didn't know what junior hockey was like, and they were hoarders, and they never cleaned anything, and it was like so disgusting in there, and I didn't know, and I was just happy to be on the team, like being that third role, and then I had another guy who got sent down from the USHL, and he moved in with me, and he was like, "What is this?" Like, he was complaining, and then the coach was like, "Parksy, why did you never tell me that it was like this?" And I was like, I was just happy to be here. I didn't know what it's supposed to be like. So then I got moved in with, she was a single woman. She was, like 35, 40, I think. But it ended up being the best thing that happened to me, because she was like, like kind of like a mother figure, and like always took care of me. And she was just like, I could talk to her about anything. So I think, being a kid and, being able to have that when you're away from your family too, I think that goes a long way. So I was really blessed with, having her as a billet mom as well too.
Yeah, so going off of like billet families, like how important was, like you said it was very important, but like what was like that personal touch that like really like gets you like you have that support no matter what, even though they're a billet family, and like what's that like, and especially moving in like a first time, being so young, like
Yeah.
not expecting anything, like what was that like?
Yeah, I think it was pretty scary at first, obviously, because that first family I was with was, hoarders, and I'm kind of a picky eater, so I wasn't getting I wasn't really eating because I didn't like the food, and so the first billet house was just a really terrible experience. But then when I moved in with that lady, it was unbelievable, because we'd go out to dinner, and you know what I mean? She was down to earth. She didn't really, chain me down. I could do whatever I wanted. I could, come and go as I wanted. We could like hang out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was so nice to have that. She would call my mom and call my family, and she was just the sweetest lady ever. So having someone like that makes the experience so much better for you. And if you have a rough game, she's there to talk to you, or you have a good game, she's there to talk to you too. So I think just having that support system in a billet family is huge.
Yeah, that's just awesome, especially since you got all that like support like your mom does. So it's
Yeah.
definitely good to have that, and like being able to tell them anything, and like her calling your mom, like that must have been really special to you, and like it must have been like a really good time there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I still talk to her this day. She just texted me a couple weeks ago, actually. So I mean, we're still in contact. We haven't seen each other in years, but we still text each other occasionally. So it was definitely a relationship that formed from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then you went on to play for the Minnow Toros. So like where you played the most games in your junior career. I believe it was like 39, I believe, or something like that. So like what was your time in Minnow in North Dakota?
Yeah, so it was really that was kind of a weird time as well, because I wasn't really getting any Division One looks at the time, and I really wanted to play Division One. That was my goal. So it was kind of a weird year, because it was my last year at juniors before I aged out, and I ended up getting a tryout in London for the Knights in the OHL. So I went to try out in the OHL. I made it to the All-Star game, and they're like, "Hey, if you were, younger, we can't have another OA guy." But the goalie coach is like, "Here's my card. Like, I'll call, and be a reference for you." So he actually called Muskegon in the USHL, and then I went to Muskegon from London. I was there for about a month. Did the showcase with them. Ended up getting beat up by a guy who played at Alabama Huntsville, but then I went to Minot, and it was their second year in the league, and the coach has had an unbelievable NHL playing career. Marty Murray's his name. He was like a Team Canada World Junior like superstar legend. He like scored the game-winning goal. But I went there, and he was the coach the first year, and they won 7 games. And I was like, oh man, I'm in deep. Like, this is going to be a struggle. I'm getting sent to this team, and so then as soon as I got there, he kind of sat down with me. Like, they had no Division One commitments. I was the first Division One commitment in their franchise history. But So he sat me down and he's like, hey, I know we only won 7 games the year before, but if we start winning games, college scouts are going to be like, how are we winning games? And you're going to be the part there. Like, you're going to be the reason why we're winning games. So if you turn in a good season, we win games, we make playoffs, you're going to get you're going to get where you want to be. So then I just came in there with an open mind, and I was like, okay, well, I can't be frustrated. Like, I got, I went from here to here to here. I have to dial it in and, be so focused towards my goal. And he was actually like, still to this day, he's one of the best coaches I've ever had. He's he's actually in the USHL now in Sioux Falls Stampede. But, I went over to his house and we were kind of sending some emails out to teams. He was a major junior guy, so he knew nothing about college. He didn't know what NCAA D1 schools were. He knew nothing. So it was kind of a process for him and I to kind of work together and, kind of work on it together. And he's an unbelievable guy. I still talk to him, to this day too. So we formed a bond and a relationship there.
Could you say that was like the role model figure that you needed to like make that extra big step into like, I'm a goalie, but now I'm like an elite goalie now?
Yeah, I think definitely when I got to Minot was, really where I first started turning some heads because, we started winning games. It was the most games I've ever played in my junior career. He had trust in me, and it's so huge when a coach has faith in you and, they're willing to bet their life on you. And, I think he was that role model for me. I think he was the one who kind of pushed me over the edge and, pushed me to get better and, pushed me to win games for the team. And we ended up having an unbelievable year that year. We almost made it out of the first round of playoffs, which from winning 7 games the year before to now, being in playoffs is such a huge step. I ended up having to play with a broken thumb during playoffs. I heard it in practice, and then they taped it, and it was on my blocker hand. So I ended up having to tape it, and it was crazy. But yeah, we made it through. But I think that guy was definitely a huge role model in my career.
Yeah. Did you take a shot from puck when you broke that?
Yeah, so it was in practice actually, like right before playoffs, and I let up a rebound to the side, and I was battling for the rebound, so I just turned my hand like this, and the guy took a slap shot and hit me right on the side of the bone. So, and then it broke, and they're like, "We need you for playoffs. Like, you've got to play." Then I went out there for practice, and guys were just like barely passing the puck to my blocker, and the vibration just killed my thumb. So they had to like rig something crazy where I could play. But once the adrenaline goes, you don't feel anything. But it's after the fact and, before where you got to take some pain medication before and just kind of go with it. So it was scary for sure.
Yeah, I had a similar situation there. Like I made a save. The rebound went to the side.
Yeah.
And I was just making a desperation save, so I turned the hand to, and like it hit my pinky right here.
Yeah,
And
it's not a good feeling.
It wasn't. And I looked at it, and it was like black and blue, and like I could barely hold my stick. I was holding my stick with maybe 3 fingers.
Yeah,
it was awful.
It's crazy. Yeah, that's never a good feeling. Never a good feeling at all.
No, not at all. So then going after your junior career ended, you went on to get a Division I scholarship at St. Lawrence University. It's like, what went into picking St. Lawrence as your school, and like what made you so successful at St. Lawrence?
Yeah, I think the goalie coach there, he's the one who kind of recruited me. Chris Mayotte, he's at Michigan right now. But I think going into it, I felt comfortable. It was a kind of a smaller school, and I wanted to play right away. So I knew that I would have the best chance at a smaller school to, play games right away. Because I knew like my goal from there after, I achieved my goal of playing Division I hockey was, hey, I want to play pro now. You know what I mean? So then, I got to shift gears towards that. So I think that kind of went into, my decision-making process was, it was somewhere where I thought I would play right away. And then I got there, and it was pretty hard mentally. Obviously, you have 3 goalies in college. And then we had the senior who was there when I was there, my freshman year. He played every game that St. Lawrence had for like 4 years straight. and then we just weren't having a good year my freshman year. We weren't very good. My incoming class had 12 freshmen, I think.
Oh.
So we were a huge class, and we knew we were going to be better when we were upperclassmen, but I think just kind of going in. So I actually broke his streak. When I started my first college game, I played against Northeastern. We ended up winning 6-4, but I think that was, it was a challenge for me to get adjusted to the speed. I think I, struggled for a little bit. And, as you know, being a goalie, it's hard. Most of my appearances, I think I had 9 appearances, something like that, they were all in relief pretty much. So I was just coming off the bench every game pretty much. But I also think that helped me in the long run because, now that I'm in pro, I think that I'm pretty good at coming off the bench. I mean, in the AHL this year, that was my first appearances coming off the bench as well, when we were playing the Colorado Eagles. So, I think that helped me there with, staying focused, make sure that you prepare every game like you're going to play. And then, I think that was, the biggest struggle for me. And, I just wanted to play more games. So that's why I ultimately made the decision to, go to Adrian College. And I had some eligibility issues too, stemming from me not knowing hockey. I didn't know anything about it. So when I graduated from high school, I took classes at St. Louis University because I wanted to be an orthodontist. So I ended up taking more class. I was a full-time student, so that means my clock started back then. So I didn't know about those rules. So I only had 3 years of NCAA eligibility anyways. So, and I tried appealing it and everything and got denied. So, I just wanted to play a lot in that last year. I was supposed to transfer to another Division I school. I was supposed to go to Nebraska Omaha, but the NCAA said I would have had to redshirt, and I didn't want to. I was already an age out. I was like, I don't want to get to pro when I'm 27 years old. You know what I mean? So I think I just got to go here to play and try to turn pro from here.
Yeah, that's just awesome how you went from playing 7, 8 games in St. Lawrence, and you went on to playing 11 at Adrian College.
Yeah.
So that must have been a really good transition period. Overall, what was the transition going from junior hockey to college hockey, especially Division I?
Yeah, I think the transition for me obviously is I never really had anyone teach me how to work out and everything like that. And in, Division I hockey, you work out all the time. You only play 2 games a week. So you're in the gym, 2-3 times, a day doing pretty hard lifts. And then you have to play on the weekend. So I think that was the biggest transitioning, just learn how to juggle school. And then I do goalie sessions in the morning before school. And, I think that was the biggest transition when you go from, being able to have all this time in junior hockey where you can work on stuff to, hey, you got to do school, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do presentations. So I think that was the hardest part. But St. Lawrence was, even though I left, all the guys understood that, I was in that role where, hey, I was, the guys liked me a lot. They knew that, I deserved better. And when I told them I was going to transfer, there was no hard feelings. Everyone was really happy for me. They're like, you deserve to play. You know what I mean? So, So they all understood. So I think, still to this day, I still love St. Lawrence. It's an unbelievable school. I think the undergrad's 2,000, so it's so small, but it's such an awesome experience. I had the best 2 years of my life there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so that was good. That your St. Lawrence teammates and friends they didn't give you hard feelings for transferring out, but so that shows how they knew that what you're doing is right for you, and they wanted the most success for you, and doing that has obviously made you successful. So that's at least good on their part and good on your part as well.
Yeah, exactly. Our class, being that many guys too, was really close. So I've actually ran across, a few of my old classmates in pro, and we've went out to dinner and had some beers and stuff. So it's still good to see those guys, still playing pro and still playing. And every time I see them, I say hi and everything. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just a close little group there. It's just the best feeling there.
Exactly.
So then you transferred to Adrian College and you played 11 games. So what made you so successful there, and how you developed even further in your career, and to get you to your point, because at the end of the season you then signed pro. It's take us through all of that, and how that 1 year changed like a lot.
Yeah, I think going back up in my mindset with, my coach at St. Lawrence, like he was, he coached in the show, like in the NHL, and, he was a really strict guy, but, he never really kind of gave me, too much of an opportunity. So I think I kind of just want to prove him wrong. Like when again, took it up on my shoulder. Like, hey, you didn't play me that many games. There's some other stuff that went on, along the way too. But it's just like, you didn't think I could play pro. I'm going to prove you wrong because he said, hey, I don't think you'll play pro, like stuff like that. So I just wanted to prove him wrong. So obviously transitioning to D3, it was a lot harder because a lot of these schools are smaller. You don't have the resources that, Division I teams have. Like at Adrian, we really never worked out. So, that's something where, I had to take it upon myself to, kind of not fall in the trap that some of the other guys were in where, they're like, hey, my career is over. I'm just having fun. I'm just, going to go out and party every night. And, it's just like, I was like, I can't fall in that trap. Like I can't do that to myself. So I think I had to take it upon myself to, work hard, stay extra. We were lucky that we had a goalie coach there, work with him. And another big thing, obviously with you being a goalie too, and if you're lucky enough to have goalie coaches and a bunch of them is, you really just got to be open to what they have to say, be really coachable and take everything they say and, try to work on it. And hey, if you don't like it, you don't like it, but at least you're coachable and at least you try. So I think that was kind of led me to success there.
Yeah, exactly. And right now I'm working with a college goalie, one of my buddies. He plays D3 as well. He plays D3. So like I've been training with him like once or twice a week, and just learning from him is just like some of the stuff I never incorporated in my game, I incorporate now due to him telling me to do that, and like it makes the game so much more simpler. And I've never had a goalie coach before, or like an actual goalie coach. So he technically acts like my goalie coach. Like I've had like online goalie coaches as well. Like in person's a lot better because like you could just like do it like right in person right there. So it's definitely picked up my game a lot as well. So it's good to see that, and for the development side of my game.
Yeah, we'll have to get you down here to train.
Yeah, I'd definitely be down. That's for sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So then you went pro after your season came to a close at Adrian. So like, what was it like signing a pro deal right out of school, and like all the emotions going up to that, like from everything you've been through, all the adversity, all the challenges you had to face. So like, what was all that, the emotions coming down to and everything like that?
Yeah, it was awesome. Obviously, I didn't know anything about the minor leagues or anything, but I was super excited. I wanted to sign in the ECHL. I got that. I got to have some experience. I signed with Kansas City, and they were in a playoff run. The tricky thing when you get into, pro that's hard with goalies is there's only two goalies. They only carry two goalies on their roster, and especially with the ECHL, a lot of NHL teams have, contracted goalies, whether it be AHL or NHL contracted goalies. Some teams in the coast even have two goalies on contract, so which makes them, immovable. You can't move them, so if it was hard battling that, obviously that's why, I was up and down between the ECHL and, it's hard battling that whenever you're a free agent, you're not signed to an AHL contract, you're not signed to an NHL contract, and ECHL contracts are day to day, so they're not, you're not given the next day. It's so performance based. So I didn't know that coming into pro hockey. I didn't know what it was like or how it worked exactly. So I think, I found out really fast how everything works, and it's tough for guys who aren't on NHL or AHL contracts, because like I said, most teams, NHL teams through their depth chart have 6-7 goalies on contracts. So I think Anaheim this year had three NHL contracted goalies in the ECHL. So, I mean, it just goes to show that, and, you know, they had to send him to a different team's farm team, one of the guys, the odd guy out. So it just goes to show how hard it is if you're not on one of those contracts. You kind of have to start at the bottom, you know, like I just played in the SPHL, and you just have to take those opportunities when those goalies get called up or there's an injury, and then you get back up to the ECHL, and if you get playing time, you know, it comes out on the same thing as, hey, you got to know that everything you've done leads up to this point, and you're ready for this one shot you get, and you know all your work you put in is going to lead you to success.
Yeah, so before we talk any more pro, I thought of a question, like Division 1, Division 3 hockey, like
Yeah.
a lot of people like say like Division 3 is a lot worse, and like but like from the people that I've talked to, like Division 1, Division 3 aren't that different. They're pretty similar. It's like what's your take on that, and like Division 1 hockey versus Division 3 hockey?
Yeah, there's definitely good players in Division 3 hockey. I mean, definitely guys who could play Division 1, whether, you know, they had troubled times in high school and, you know, their grades weren't good where they could get into, you know, a Division 1 program. I know me and Adrian, we had a lot of guys who were really skilled, and, you know, guys who could play Division 1, but, you know, either their work ethic wasn't there. They're just missing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have the skill and the talent, but they're just missing, you know, something. But I think, I don't think there's that big of a difference. I think the biggest thing is guys' decision making. I think, you know, like the hockey IQ, like, you know, guys at D1 can, you know, they see that guy's coming back door, you know what I mean? So I think that's the biggest difference, so to speak. I mean, guys' shots are just as hard. Some guys' shots are, you know what I mean? You have that, but it's just like the one little missing thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, and it just proves that like Division 3 guys can make it pro as well. So it's like a lot like closer than people think in terms of like competitive wise, and just overall like how Division 1 hockey's ran compared to Division 3.
Yeah, and there's been plenty of Division 3 guys too who have made lengthy careers in playing hockey, you know, playing professionally. So it definitely can be done. It's just coming down to, are you going to be willing to put in the work, or are you going to fall into the trap of, you know, some other guys who may be in there? You know what I mean? It comes down to that mindset, and, you know, if you want it, you can make it happen.
Yeah, you were talking about just everything right there, the whole new experience with transferring from D1 to D3 and all the new other stuff that was going along with it. And I wanted to get back to this because you mentioned this earlier, and I like this kind of quote. I've never heard this kind of way before. Is this kind of going back to your way of saying you play with the cards you get dealt with, you know, the new circumstances and everything? So is this sort of like that saying that you were going back to before?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you know, I went to a Division 3 school. Those are the cards I dealt, and, you know, I got to roll with it. You know, I can't change it. It is what it is, and you got to make the most of it. You got to be there to work hard, get better every day, and it's what you put into it. It's what you make it ultimately.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? There's no better way to put that than right there. So going back to pro, you began your career. You signed with the Missouri Mavericks. So like, what was it like playing like in your hometown team as a pro now compared to junior?
Yeah, it was awesome. That was my first, you know, time with pro experience, and it was unbelievable. Like, you know, it was a first-class organization. You know, guys got treated well. I had a really good experience there. I think it was only there 2 weeks though, because another guy got sent down who was on an NHL contract, who I was actually filling in for. But yeah, for a first taste of pro hockey, that's definitely a great organization to, you know, get a taste of pro hockey there.
Yeah, so then your first official pro season was in 2016, 2017. You play on 4 different teams in 2 leagues. You play with the Evansville Thunderbolts, the Peoria Rivermen in the SPHL, the Missouri Mavericks, and the Elmira Jackals in the East Coast. So, like, throughout, like, moving around a lot your first year, like, you faced a lot of ups and downs that year. So, like, what did you, like, learn throughout the entire first official year of being a pro athlete? Pro goalie?
Yeah, it was hard. So I went to Elmira, my first ECHL, you know, full camp. That team actually doesn't exist anymore, and it was pretty poor when I was there. You know, like same thing kind of with the billet family. Like in the ECHL, they have to provide apartments for you. And the apartment I ended up staying back when I got called back was not very good. It was the worst of the worst. It looked like someone had been murdered in the bathtub. It was scary. And like I said, I didn't know what to expect. My first time with an ECHL team, I found out though that it's not like that. That's not how it should be. But yeah, I think just going from the SPHL to the ECHL, I ended up same thing, battling guys who were on NHL and AHL contracts. They had two guys in Elmira who were there. One of them ended up getting injured, and that's kind of how I got a chance there. And then, same thing, going down to the SPHL, and, some guys are just happy being in that league, for the rest of their life. They'll go out drinking every day, and they'll be fine with it. And, it's kind of like the wild, wild west. But I think that, like I keep saying, it's just what you make it at that point. I mean, you could sit back and be like, I hate being here. I'm stuck here. But at the end of the day, you gotta work towards your goals. I knew that I wanted to get out of there as quick as possible. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't want to be around that culture. But I was there. So, you know what I mean? Like, gotta make the most of it. And so I just made sure every game I was there to play. And, I made sure that I showed up and acted professional. If everyone around me wasn't going to be professional, I was going to be. So I think it's just kind of having that. And it was pretty tough in Peoria and Evansville because it's the Southern Professional Hockey League. So the travel, you're on a bus, going crazy amount of hours all the way to, all the southern states. So it can get pretty taxing on your body. And, obviously that league doesn't have a lot of money. I was playing for like $200 a week, the bottom of the barrel. And it's just really hard because with not having money, you get there the day of the game. So we would leave like the night before the game, take the sleeper bus, show up, and then play the game. So you gotta be ready to go no matter what the circumstances are. I know a couple games in that league we went the same day and we showed up and like almost our bus driver drove the wrong way and it was just a disaster. But you have to play at the end of the day. I mean, you're still gonna get judged, so
Yeah,
you have to make it work.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard plenty of those horror stories, and like the horror story with the apartment, like brings back to a time when I was, because I run cross country and track in college right now, and it just reminds me of a time we went to a meet in Minnesota, and like we stayed at this 1-star hotel, and it was literally like someone got murdered in there, like there were a few drug deals that went down. It was like a mess.
It's the worst. Those are the worst stories.
Yeah, but they make for the best memories somehow.
Yeah,
so
exactly. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Oh, go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, so then, like, what was like the biggest thing you learned from like going to the like SPHL to the ECHL? Like, I know there's like a big transition period there a little bit. So like, how long did that transition period take from like practices and all that?
Yeah, it took me a little while to get adjusted because I mean, still from that league, those two leagues, it's quite the jump. You know what I mean? Like I said, as you get up there, guys' hockey IQ is better. They think the game's smarter. Their shots are a little harder. Their skating's better. You know what I mean? So it definitely took me some adjustment. I think in the SPHL, I was able to play a little more aggressive, so a little more out. But in the ECHL, you can't play like that. There's too many tic-tac-toe passes. You have to be more passive and you have to be able to hold your feet longer. So I think that took me, a little while to transition for sure because, if you slide the wrong way or if you leave your feet, you know what I mean, they're going to make another pass back, where like maybe in the SP that guy just buries it in you, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a big adjustment and it took me a little bit to figure out. And like I said, like when I got called up, it was hard too because I wouldn't play for the month I was up because they were playing, their NHL contracted guy. And then I was kind of just there if they needed me. So, I'd get a game, like one game every month, play, see you later. You know what I mean? Like it was pretty hard times for sure.
How hard was it for you after you made the jump up to the ECHL you said keep that professional attitude? Because I know you were talking about before how you were really, really trying to keep like a professional attitude compared to some of these other guys who you said were like goofing off. So how hard was it for you to make that, when you made that jump, to really, really try and keep it to that high standard level?
Yeah, I think it boded me well because I know the ECHL's, way more, professional. Like, you wear business casual on the roads, you're not in a tracksuit. You get places, a couple of days before you play. You get some practices in. So I think that boded me well, just even when I was in the SPHL to, kind of keep acting that way. Make sure I'm wearing a suit to the game, try to keep the professionalism, make sure I'm still being the first one on, last one off, make sure I'm stretching at the end of every practice, taking care of my body. Because when you jump up to the ECHL, every guy's doing that, and they want that chance at the American League, and then same thing when you get to the American League, it's a step up, and every guy's fighting for that job to the NHL now, so it's pretty cutthroat. You got to make sure you're taking care of your body and being ready to go every day, whether that practice, a workout, everything. You're being judged at all times, so you have to be ready to crush your opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And just like take care of your body. Like that's a huge thing I've learned recently. And like, just like since you're competing at such a high level, like you got to be ready at all times, and you just can't let your body slack off. You gotta you gotta eat, you gotta sleep, you gotta get that good nutrition in. So you just gotta and stretch as well. Stretching is a huge thing,
Yeah, exactly.
especially as a goalie. It's you gotta do that.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely.
Yeah. So going in, so you in the SPHL, you got your first professional win. So like, what was that feeling of getting like that first pro win?
It was unbelievable. It took me a long time to get that. It took me way, way longer than I thought it was going to take me. So, it was just a sigh of relief for sure. And just, I was so excited. And, it was emotional for me that, I was, chasing my dreams and I was able to, accomplish that. And even though it took me longer than I expected, it was such an awesome experience.
Yeah. So was that same thing, like your emotion wise, like the first game like your first pro game, like was it like the same feeling as your first pro win, or was it like completely different based off it was a start and then a win?
Yeah, I think it was different, completely different, because it's just, you work so hard to get to this point, and then, you're finally at this point, and yeah, it might not be the league you want to be in, but it just shows that, all the hard work you're putting in, and, everything you've done all those years is kind of paying off, and, you're working towards something bigger than yourself.
Yeah. So then you went up to the ECHL and you played a few games. Was that like was that feeling different from, or does it differ from like league to league?
Yeah, I think
Your
that
first
it's
game.
definitely different. It's more, I feel like you have more people in the stands. That league makes way more money, than the SPHL. So I think it's definitely a bigger feeling, and you're playing against guys who are on NHL contracts now or on AHL contracts. So you got to raise the bar. You got to raise your level of play because now you're playing against someone who's affiliated with an NHL team.
Yeah, exactly. And then you went on to play with the Peoria Rivermen. You played 17 games and seven playoff games with them. And that was the most you played in your first year. So like, what was that like development like? Because I'm sure it helped a lot, especially playing a lot of games in the SP and just working your way up to the next level, to the ECHL and then eventually the AHL.
Yeah, it helped. I know in Peoria the coach is pretty hard on guys, which some guys might hate it, but I actually liked it because at least he cared that you got better, and he'd stay out with you after practice and shoot on you. He played a couple games in the NHL too. The coach John Guitrudel, French guy there, but he was really hard on working hard, and he wanted to outwork every team, and so I think it was good me going to Peoria and playing as many games in Peoria as I did for a coach like that who always, pushed you to get better. He was really hard on you, hard on goalies too. Like, if you wanted a bad goalie, he's going to let you know. But I think, that it boded well for me because, at least I was working hard. I was getting better every day, and, I wasn't getting complacent. If I went down there and got complacent and, it was just just like, some guys who want to play there for the rest of their life. I don't think that I'd be where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. And just to prove that, like, you like worked hard in the SP, you earned your way into the ECHL, and then you eventually worked your way into the AHL as well this prior season. And like during like after you spent time with Peoria, you got loaned out to the ECHL again, and you spent time with the Reading Royals, the Florida Everblades, and the Tulsa Oilers. So what was it like moving like throughout all those three different teams in the East Coast and like finally being like a mainstay in the ECHL for that season?
Yeah, it was tough. Obviously, you're kind of living out of a suitcase. You don't know what day is going to be your last. You don't know when, that other guy's going to be back or he's going to get sent down. And I think that's my biggest thing is I've matured as a person and a goalie is, you can't worry about that stuff. You have to worry about yourself internally and you can't be worried about all, the external issues. That's not good for your mental health. But I think, it was tough living out of a suitcase, not knowing what day is going to be your last, when that guy's going to get sent down, when you're going to go back to the SPHL. And, it's definitely, that I think that was my hardest transition was from the SPHL to the ECHL. Cause then, you're kind of sitting in the ECHL for a month or 2 months or 2 weeks or however long you're up there, and you're probably not going to play a game unless the other guy hurts or, he does really bad. So I think, if you sit there too long and then you go back to the SPHL and then, the style of play is different and then you kind of get thrown in the fire. You're like, hey, you're starting again. Hey, I haven't played a game in 2 months, but here we go. You know what I mean? So I think that was the hardest part, transitioning, going up and down like that.
Yeah, you also just got to look for that opportunity to play. Like you want to play as many games as you can, so you just got to look for that opportunity to get you that. And then what happened to you? You got your chance in Rapid City the past 2 years. So like take us through like how like Rapid City was for you because you spent the last 2 seasons there and that was the only place you stayed at before getting called up to Tucson. So like what like Rapid City like for you and like the experience and like the overall city and the sport you got throughout the Rapid City rush?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Obviously, Coach Tatro there was, the first coach that really gave me that experience and, that kind of, helped me build my resume and kind of let me stick there. So same scenario there. I came in as a third goalie. I called him before the summer. I was like, hey, like before I come, I just want to know that I have a real opportunity. Like you don't already have the team picked. And he's like, nope, the best guys are going to stay. So we ended up having Michael Bitzer, who played at Bemidji. He was a 4-year All-American there. Was up for the Mike Richter Award. Him and I were kind of splitting games. Only, the other guy was Adam Carlson, who was coming off an NHL deal with the Washington Capitals. He had some issues in training camp, so he didn't miss the first few weeks. So Bitzer and I were kind of funneling on and off there. And I was like, this is my chance. I had a good camp. I was like, this is my chance to finally stick. So I ended up getting some games, played really well. And then they ended up trading him actually to a different team and held on to me. So that was huge for me, just, having him with his confidence too and, confidence in me and telling me that, hey, you're here the rest of the year. Like, you don't need to worry. I know you've had to worry, your whole career about, what's going to happen, but, you're going to be here the rest of the year. We have faith in you. And I think that, boded so well for me. Like, I wanted to play my ass off for that guy every game because he gave me that opportunity that no other coach would. So, it was nothing but great. And then, this past year in Rapid City was, unbelievable. They're like, yeah, you're going to be the go-to guy coming in. It was just a first-class organization, for sure.
Yeah. So then going into the prior year, you got your first AHL call up, which was awesome. I remember seeing that, and like I was happy for you. So like, what was like getting called up to Tucson and playing 5 games with them, getting your first AHL win against I believe was it Colorado?
Yeah, it was Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was like your emotions going through that game? Like just getting your first AHL win, just like taking everything in.
Yeah, it was unbelievable because like, wherever I am until I, reach the NHL, I'm going to have that goal of playing the NHL. So, if I'm in the ECHL, I want to be in the AHL. You know what I mean? I just want to make that climb. So it was, it's the AHL is so hard to even get a game in. You know what I mean? So I was just so happy to, ecstatic to, I was playing well in Rapid City, and I ended up catching a break because the Arizona Coyote goalie, who was on an NHL contract, he had some hip issues the previous year, in double hip surgery, but he ended up being hurt for, I think he played 3 games this year. So I kind of caught a break there. And then another NHL contracted guy they had did not like playing in the ECHL. So he went back to Sweden, where he was from. So that's 2 NHL contracted goalies that, kind of ended up, being hurt and not available. And that's kind of how I got the chance. They were watching me and saw that I played well, and like, hey, we're going to give them the opportunity. And I think Kemper and Ranta were hurt. Were hurt at that same time. So then I just fly to Colorado, meet the team there. It's on a game day. The first day I get there was a pregame skate. We had practice, and the other goalie is Brandon Halverson. He was a coast goalie too, but he had NHL games with the Rangers. He was with the Rangers organization. So they're like, hey, we're gonna play, Halvey today, and I was like, yeah, I completely get it. You know what I mean? Like, so I came there, just worked hard for pregame skate, ended up getting back skated. I was like, I'm going to stay out here long. I'm so happy to get this opportunity. And then the coach, one of the coaches skated up to me. He's like, hey, make sure you don't tire yourself out too much. Like, you never know if you might go in tonight. And then I was gassed after the pregame skate, like worked my nuts off, and then got a pregame nap and came to the rink. And then I ended up going in my first AHL game, and I think he let in 3 goals. They scored pretty quick. We weren't playing the best, and they're like, Parksy, you're going in, like, and so just got thrown in the fire. And then I was pretty nervous, but ended up putting together a good game, and just trying to stop every puck and just try to be dialed, because that's my opportunity. If I got to come in relief, that's my one chance. So I know that's all I have. So.
Yeah, exactly. And like the cards were dealt, and the cards came in for relief, and then you got 5 stars after that. So you went 2-1 while in those 5 games. You had like a 2.18 goals against average. So like, what made you so successful with Tucson? And like, how do you bring it back to Rapid City before COVID?
Yeah, I honestly think what helped me there was that me and my goalie partner, Ivan Prosvetov, he's a Russian draft pick by the Coyotes. He was in Rapid for a few weeks, and him and I kind of became really good friends. We're still super close. So I think having him as a support system, he actually got sent back down from Arizona my first game, but then he was getting called back up when they were playing Florida. So he was actually there to watch my first AHL game too. But I think, he was a big part of it too, because, we'd hang out all the time, and we were a good support system. And then the goalie coach there is unbelievable, Zach Burke. He played in the NHL as well. But he's a guy, he kind of took me out to dinner in Rapid City when he was there watching Ivan play when he was down, and kind of just tried to ask him my story, and kind of got to know me a bit. And, that went a long way with me, that he was, I'm not one of their prospects or anything, but, hey, you want to take the time to get to know me. And then just working with him, he helped my game so much. He was there, most of the time. He'd go back and forth between Toronto, but he was there every day. When he was there, we'd always get good work in. He'd work with us. He's just an unbelievable guy. I can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah, that's just awesome. I really wish you would have played in Chicago when the Wolves played the Roadrunners, because that would have been a fun game to see, especially since you were a future guest. So maybe next year, though. Next year.
Yeah, let's hope so.
So then, like, COVID came down, COVID hit, and so, like, what was everything like leading up to the events of like the AHL getting canceled, then the ECHL getting canceled, and like what was the events leading up to prior to all that?
Yeah, it was hard. So we were supposed to have 3 games against Idaho that weekend, and I think it was Thursday, and Idaho had just gotten to town in the morning, and then they're like, "Hey, I don't think we're gonna play the games because of this." And then we went out for pregame skate, and then 10 minutes into the skate, they kind of called us. They're like, "Hey, like, the season might end. We don't know." And then so we stuck around for like a week, and no team meetings or anything, didn't hear anything. And then they finally called us in and said that the league, said that the season's over. You guys aren't getting paid anymore. Like, so that was kind of a shock. It's, no notice, and hey, you guys aren't getting paid. You got to be out, it's so long. So that was pretty devastating because, I had such a good year personally this year, and it's one of the best years professionally for me. And, I made some gains, and, I was excited to make a playoff run with Rapid City, and, that kind of got cut short. And then same thing this year. I'm a, free agent waiting on, what I'm going to do, but nothing's really happening right now because of, nobody knows if the AHL is going to play next year or, what the timeline is. So teams are holding off. They don't want to make any moves really.
Yeah, yeah. At least that's good that you had a career year to go off of for next year whenever the season starts. And then with COVID hitting, like the hockey just went completely silent. Like I remember the last time I skated before like everything closed, I was like with like a few buddies of mine like at a rink that we usually skate at for like pickup and stuff like that, and like we were out there till like 2:30 in the morning, like the day before it got canceled or the rink shut down. So that was like the last hurrah before June, and we were able to get back on the ice. So just gotta enjoy hockey any day you got it, and just the best sport in the world.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can do. That's all you can do is just roll with it.
Exactly. And so we got a few more questions for you.
Yeah.
So, like during games, if your emotions get like the best of you, like how do you like stay calm and stay even keeled even throughout like when everything could be going to shit, and so you just got to calm yourself down?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. So when I was at St. Lawrence, we actually worked with a mental coach. And that was my first time ever working with, a sports, psychologist, so to speak. And he actually taught me some stuff where, to have 3 keywords. So whenever you need a reset, you say these 3 keywords. So like mine are like, I will win, I will battle, I will compete. So I think when, things get hard, I listen to those, and, that kind of sparks me to keep going. So I think, learning from him, and last year in Tucson too, when we were in California playing games, I think we were on an 8-game skid, and they actually flew in a sports psychologist to work with us at the hotel too, and that guy was really good too. So he basically broke it down like, you have your pillars or icebergs, and the top layer is, your work and everything that you put in. And so you got to have confidence that you put in the work during the week, that you're going to succeed, during the games when it matters. So that's another thing that was really good to learn for me, especially too.
Yeah, confidence is a huge thing, especially when you're super confident in yourself and like the work you put in, like your game and your mindset changes, and like it's just incredible what the mind can do, especially with confidence.
It is. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy what your mind can do.
Yeah, it really is. It's just awesome to see. So, Tyler, do you have any more questions for Parksy?
Yeah, I got one more. So you said you grew up in St. Louis, I believe, correct?
Yep. Grew up here.
How did it feel for those St. Louis Blues to get that Stanley Cup championship last year? You had to be losing your mind, right?
Yeah, it was crazy, especially for the city, just to finally, St. Louis has never won a Stanley Cup before then. So finally got to get the monkey off the back. It was crazy here, parades everywhere, parties everywhere, like watch parties. It was crazy. The city really erupted whenever the Blues won. So that was so cool for the city, and such a big thing.
Yeah, that was an incredible run from St. Louis. They're dead last in the league.
Crazy.
January, and then they're the best team in the league in June and won the Stanley Cup. So that's just you're never down, you're never out. You just got to keep battling, and just like St. Louis did, they ended up winning the cup.
Exactly. What a story. That's especially to get your first cup that way. Like I don't even know if that'll ever be matched.
Yeah, it was an incredible time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I got one more question,
Yep.
and it's like, what's your favorite kind of snack? Like, it's simple, but like, what's your favorite kind of snack?
My favorite kind of snack. I actually love Lara bars. Have you ever had one of those? They're so good.
Yeah. A recovery after skates are those hit different.
Yeah, I just started actually eating them this summer, and I was like, man, these are unreal. How did I ever not eat these?
Yeah, they're super good. What's your favorite flavor?
I like the cashew cookie.
Uh,
So good.
yeah, I like the blueberry one. That one's pretty good as well.
Oh, I gotta try that one. I never had it.
Yeah, you definitely should. It's
That's
really
awesome.
good. So, Parksy, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time, and we look forward to your years coming up in the pros. And if you're ever in the Chicago area, we'll for sure come watch a game for sure.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you guys having me, and maybe we can get you down to St. Louis to come train.
Yeah, I'd definitely enjoy that. So
Be
we'll
awesome,
see.
man.
Yeah,
Come on out.
yeah, exactly. I'm totally down.
Perfect.